What's that complaining about? Oh, and in fact, okay, so we'll just create a onReady. I don't know whether, okay, I'm going to test this, so I don't know if this works in Godot. But if we say like that the velocity is equal to a vector 2 of 0 and negative initial velocity. I think I've just got to use the correct terms here now that we've switched our physics around. Okay, so the acceleration is actually 10. The maximum velocity. That's actually not our maximum velocity. Okay, I know. Okay, I see what I've done wrong. Okay. Okay, so I hope this works. We might need to put an onReady in front of that. I'm not sure how Godot does it. So I guess what we really want to do is we want to look at the state. And we want to check the velocity in that state, right? State dot look. That looks like. Linear velocity. Yeah. Get linear velocity. Alright, this makes more sense. So let's get the linear velocity. And I might just type that. See if we get some autocomplete. Nope. Function signature does not match the parent. Parent signature is void. Physics 2D. 2D. Direct body state. And that is the void function. And then let's see if we get that autocomplete now. State.get. Nope. Okay, well, the documentation says it works, so I'm going to go with the docs. So if the get linear velocity is greater than the maximum velocity, then just return early, right? We don't need to add any more force if we're already traveling it. And then we just want to apply instead of that, it's just going to be the force rotated, I think. You know what, I'm just going to print this linear velocity as well, so we have an idea at least of the scale, the magnitude that we're dealing with. And then velocity. Okay. Let's have a look. Vector and float. Oh yeah. So what we really care about is the length here. And let's try that again. Okay, so the linear velocity, we're looking at about negative 500. Okay, so we definitely need some sort of initial boost. I'm not sure the recommended method of doing that. So integrate forces. Okay, cool. So what we want to do then, so we want to apply an impulse initially. Okay, when we enter the okay. So I think this is what we want to do, is when we enter the tree, we want to apply impulse, right? And let's export another float, and we can call this initial impulse, and maybe that just equals, so we're looking at 500, maybe like, I don't know, 20? Don't know. It's cool that, okay, so I've learned that you don't need to wait for these exported variables, so you can essentially, as long as it's the line after, I assume this is available. I was worried that maybe exported variables weren't available until the object was ready, but that fear was unfounded. Godot seems to make this easy for you. Okay, so what we want is we want a vector 3, and we've got, I assume, a negative initial impulse and then 0. And what are you talking about? What's the other? What? Offset and the impulse. Okay. So the offset, I'm just going to use, maybe just say that const. Oh wait, hold on. I think there is already a dot origin on that. Is there no shorthand? Here we go. Unfortunate. Jesus. Okay, someone's just... Oh, it's 0. Vector 2.0, yeah. Here we go. Okay. So we apply an impulse from the origin, and it's a vector 2 facing upwards with the value of our initial impulse, and then our maximum velocity was somewhere around 500 somehow, so maybe 300. I don't know. I'm not really seeing that impulse. We might need a more realistic collision shape, otherwise players are going to probably feel that's a bit cheap. But it would be nice to have our collision shapes as simple as possible, but yeah, we need to make the projectiles explode when they hit stuff as well. Okay, so oh yeah, good catch. I was wondering why it was a vector 3. I thought like maybe the yeah. Okay. Okay, so what if we remove our central force for now, and then just focus on that initial impulse? So if the initial impulse is maybe a little bit more, just verify that we can see that impulse. Here we go. Okay, so that's cool, and now we just need to make sure it's rotated, I guess. So we apply that rotated by our rotation. Cool. So now we've got this sort of initial boost, but it's affected by gravity, and we don't have any of that sort of like rocket propulsion feel to it because we've turned off our central force. So now if we add this force, right, let's have a look at what our velocity is. Hold on. Let's get the length. Might be easier to work out. Okay, so it's hitting about 250, maybe 250, 300, which is where we got to before, I think. So that's starting to make sense. And then, yeah, okay, I think that should hopefully feel like have a good bullet feel now. So we've got this initial impulse, and then